Hi, my name's Tanya Swift, and I'd like to talk to you about baby physical development. Now, when babies are born, they develop at a rapid rate, but it's also really important to remember that they should develop naturally and not to rush them. So, children need to develop new skills in order to develop muscles, but as importantly, they need to develop, the brain needs to develop, and their nervous system needs to develop to allow signals to go to their muscles. So you can't actually look at the muscle development, the brain development as independent for their development. They need to work together. We need to think about how there's a lot of equipment out there that allows babies to, or supports babies to develop quicker. But actually this equipment ends up being no use to us or to them, because actually babies need to develop them at their developmental milestones as and when they're ready. So it's actually more important for you to support them to develop naturally, support them to try new things, to take risks, to do things when they feel comfortable and confident to do it. And actually, if you do that, it'll ensure that they become more capable, self-assured and determined to try things more on their own. So supporting them naturally is much more important than trying to encourage them to do things in a hurry. Now, I want to talk to you about reflexes. So obviously babies, when they're born, they have reflexes, natural reflexes, and they are naturally born with these because it helps them achieve what they need to achieve. So, if you put your hand on your finger on their hand, they're going to grasp it. That's the grasp reflex, so on and so forth. And these are allowing them to help themselves when they are actually, in a way, helpless. But if children don't develop other skills and the skills that they need to naturally, then they won't lose these reflexes. And if they don't lose these reflexes, it actually inhibits their natural development. So that's why it's so important that they do develop other natural physical skills. And that's why babies, since we're talking about babies right now, that's why it's so important for babies to be on the move as much as they can be. And also it stimulates their brain, it stimulates their communication, it stimulates their vision. So many things come from babies moving. Things, for example, balance. So the vestibular system in the inner ear, that is stimulated by movement and spinning and rocking. So things like holding your baby and dancing to music, spinning around gently in a chair. Those kind of things, when a child is hanging upside down, which is usually, we're talking about older children when they're in a playground or somewhere in a tree. But if they're hanging upside down, if they're on a slide, if they're moving around, if they're spinning, that's actually impacting on their vestibular system, which is actually impacting on their balance. So, yes, get those babies dancing. You dance with the babies, holding them, or if you can help them, hold them up, get them moving to music. Movement to music just really is one of the best things for babies, because it also impacts on the development of rhythm, and that underpins the development of and the acquisition of language. Now, just some movements that are really important for babies is reaching and grasping objects. It's something that's going to help them develop a lot. Now, I see a lot of parents being so lovely to their children, to their babies, and pushing things closer to them so that they can grab it. But actually, unless they really can't reach, give them the opportunity to try and reach, because they will be using their core, they'll be using muscles, they'll be trying, they'll be problem solving. So much will be going on that if you give them the opportunity to reach and grasp, that they are going to be developing. It's really important that they get lots of opportunity to play with people, other objects, toys, just a variety, because then they're going to try lots of different things and they experience a variety of activities and movement, which will then obviously develop them more. And it's important to help them to turn their heads towards stimuli. You know, it's an age-old thing, putting glitter in a bottle of water. That excites them, noises, rattles, all those kind of things, because then they're developing, they're moving. But also helping them to move their eyes. So getting them, if they're not moving their head but still moving their eyes, that's going to have an impact on tracking of the eyes, which impacts on their vision. So that's really important. And then things like pushing and pulling. Give them the opportunity to push and pull objects and things that maybe are a little bit heavy, because that's obviously going to develop the muscles. Think about us as adults. If you're in a gym or something and you're pushing and pulling something heavy, it's developing your muscles and potentially your core and potentially your balance, and we can go on and on and on. Now, I'm going to talk about tummy time in a different video because it's really important and there's a lot to be said. But placing babies on tummies, on their sides, on their backs, different positions at different times are really, really important for babies. It just encourages them to do different things. So just remember, stimulating babies' brains will not only help them physically, but it'll also develop, and just generally developing their brains, it'll also help them develop their communication and language. Gentle rough and tumble games are great for babies. Obviously, you know, we want to take care with them, but actually they don't have to be kept in cotton wool. It's really important because then they will develop a lot. So rough and tumble games are great for babies. They need to move freely and experience a variety of environments. Now, firstly, the best state for a baby is a naked baby, or a baby just in a nappy, because then they're free to move. One of the worst things for babies is to put them in things like jeans, because it's restrictive. So, and you know, especially if a baby starts to crawl, putting them in a dress it's going to restrict them. So think about clothing in that way, but also think about giving them the opportunity to try different environments, because it'll stimulate senses. So if they aren't moving yet, just being outside, taking them to a forest or putting them on the lawn, they will see different things, they will smell different things, they'll be able to feel different things. If they're crawling, you could put various cushions on the floor in your lounge or whatever room you're in, and then when they're crawling, they get to try different surfaces, and that really helps them develop different muscles. And once again, if they're crawling, get them crawling outside. Obviously make sure it's safe, but it really makes a big difference to them. And actually crawling, some babies just don't crawl. But generally, if they have a lot of tummy time, they're more likely going to crawl. And crawling isn't just for their gross motor development. It's going to help prepare them for writing. It's going to have an impact on their fine motor development. So that's why we want to encourage crawling. But some babies are just bump shufflers, and generally they're fine. And then I just want to end off on the fact that you are your baby's best piece of equipment. You don't need lots and lots of toys and lots of equipment and lots of things to stimulate their baby. You can do all of those yourself. They can play with you, they can be on you, you can sing to them. Just think about how much you bring to that baby's life. So there's a few ideas and a little bit of food for thought. I hope you found it useful, and if you'd like to find out any more, please have a look at my website or get in touch. Thank you very much.